Hi, Bunny. I'm glad you came to help. Um. Owl wants us to make a 3D Blender model for the mouse character named Lineally. We will use the AI-generated picture as a template. So, we will use our 2D image software today, GIMP. We want to make an orthographic layout drawing that we can use for a plan drawing. Later we will use the drawing as a reference for building the 3D model in Blender.
No worries, Turtle. Of course I want to help. It's what I do. And thank you for helping me learn more about orthographic drawings. Knowing about orthographic layout in Blender is really cool for an artist. It offers whole new worlds of opportunity for creation. It's good that we can use the same style that we use for YZ. I mean, we try to use basic Blender shapes like boxes and balls and pyramids as much as we can. It's fun to see what is possible when you use basic building blocks.
Yes, it's fun to see what we can achieve with just the basic shapes, but it's more important to know when to give up and start creating our own shapes. Don't worry, though. We don't need to be afraid of going into edit mode with Blender. Designing a good character is the main job.
Well then, Turtle. Let's get started. I want to draw something.
Bunny. You want to learn 3D with Blender, so well, for me, that really starts with some drawing ideas. We have worked with orthographic layout before. I wonder how much you remember.
Okay. Turtle. It's not complicated, is it? Really? It's just imagining putting the thing in a box and tracing the top, front, and side of the thing onto the box. Right?
Yes. Well put. Well, he have our front view. But of course, we need to think what it will look like as a 3D shape. Or, better yet, a set of simple 3D shapes. Like spheres or boxes or cones.
Yes. But I don't see very many pointy bits or straight lines on this guy. I wonder how much of him can be spheres. Besides, I like making things out of spheres. It reminds me of making a snowman. Or a snow mouse in this case.
Yes, but a snow mouse would be made out of snow. I think Owl expects us to make a guy covered with fur, or at least stylized fur. The cloth is going to be another matter. Clothes always are. Well, we can worry about that later. We always have a front view, but sometimes two views are enough. We will have to see, but the mouse is sort of like a lot of people. The top view might not be of much value. All the bits are just stacked on top of each other.
Well, okay. I'll just worry about the front view and side view for now. The head will be a ball with some extra bits. And I think the extra bits will mostly be balls too. Except maybe the ears. They are round, but really squashed. I don't know, Turtle. Do you think we might have to into edit mode? Would you help if we go into edit mode?
Yes, I will help, but really, edit mode does the same things as object mode, except for extruding, of course. If we need to extrude, I will definitely help. No worries.
It wouldn't be so bad if we were doing this like the snowman thing, but this is a job that Owl is expecting something mouse-like when we finish. I mean, we can't just play around.
Well, no, we can't just do what we want, but isn't it like you always tell me? We still play around, but just within boundaries.
I hate boundaries. Well, not really. Games aren't nearly as much fun if you don't follow the rules. And I guess, making a mouse wouldn't be as much fun either, if it ends up looking like a duck.
Oh, please, Bunny. Let's try to stay mammalian, okay? No. I know you do care about your work, that's why you do so well.
Why, Turtle? That was a compliment. Thank you.
Yes. I admit it, Bunny. You can do good art. And, if we can make a good mouse, I will try to compliment you again. Okay.
Okay, Turtle. And if we can make a mouse that looks like a mouse, I will definitely compliment you too. BNY. I know that we put different bits onto different layers. That way, if the bits overlap we can still work with them separately. But, then, some shapes will never overlap, but we still use different layers. So, Turtle, why don't we put each bit onto its own layer?
Well, Bunny. I guess you can if you want. Each layer uses up memory, but, computers are so powerful nowadays that, well, we can use more layers. So, yeah, if you want to use more layers. That's cool.
Turtle, you know how Shrek talks about being made out of layers, right? Like an onion? Well, of course, everyone is made out of layers. So, that got me thinking. We are even more complicated than that. It's like this mouse. We have front layers, but we also have side layers. And if we make a top view, we will have more layers for that. So, I was thinking, it's like layers times layers or layers squared. But then, so, if we go into the top layer, then being made up of layers, like an onion, that would be layers to the third power, or as if we were cubing an onion. And well, cubing an onion always makes me cry and all I get is a pile of onion bits. What do you think?
But, well, if you start to cry, we can take a break, okay? Working on two layers at the same time, well, it's sort of like the playground thing, sort of. Um, I'm just tracking down a thought here, but the playground has borders, that tells us how far we can go as we are playing. Right? So, the guides are like that, sort of. As we use guides to say how far down or up we can go, but we can still play in the Y direction. Or, if you are thinking 2D. I mean you can still go as deep or shallow as you want to. It's sort of like, the front view sets your height borders, but it's the side view that sets your depth values.
Oh. Okay. maybe. I think you really need to think like a turtle to follow that. But, if I could really play in the side view, then I wouldn't have to go right to the guides. I mean, doesn't play mean that there is flexibility and tolerance? But the guides really say go here and no less and no more. I would say that guides are not good playground borders. They are more like a prison for the height values.
Okay, Bunny. But you still get to play with how deep to make the circles. Don't you? That's lots of tolerance and flexibility.
So, maybe. This is like a playground in the shape of a narrow tunnel. I can go deeper or less deep, but not up or down.
Well, there are playgrounds like that. It's like playing inside a tunnel.
You do know that I'm a rabbit, right? You keep thinking like a turtle, and I guess that would be okay, just going backward or forward. And if you sometimes bump your head on a guide, well, you have a shell. Bunnies tend to hop around more. But, well, I'm not complaining, and I don't really mind the restrictions, but you say that orthographic layout is like a playground, and well, since you asked me about it, I know that you know that I'm going to play with your idea.
Yes. I know, as I said, I'm just tracking down an idea, and of course, with tracking down ideas, we should always leave room for play. Just be careful you don't hit your head on the guides too hard. Owl won't like it if you come back with a concussion.
Okay, Turtle. I will be careful and thank you for your concern. Well, this guy is coming along, now. Maybe it's time to start thinking about some bigger questions. Like, who is lineally, really? Owl was talking about that. She was asking me stuff like, what do they do? And how do they make you feel?
Well, that sounds like sensible questions. But, almost all we have is the picture. So, I guess, we should think about what the picture looks like and, well, make the 3D model, well, like the picture. But, well, weren't we going to do that anyway?
Yes, but, okay. I think that we are supposed to make our guy, well maybe, even more like the picture. There's a rule with art. You don't have to be correct. You just have to be certain. So, okay. We need to figure out what lineally is all about and make sure that our lineally is all of that.
Well, okay. I guess we can play with that idea, then. I would guess that lineally is an old man kind of mouse. You know. Like a wise elder shaman or a sage. That means wise man. He has those robes. I think that old wise men tend to wear robes like that.
So, okay. Turtle? Why does a wise old person need to be a man? People never talk about a wise woman, or at least, it's rare. And, even the words. I mean shaman, never shay woman.
Um. Sorry Bunny. I didn't think about that, but if lineally should be a wise woman, well, that's cool. I have always believed that women can be as smart as men. And, nowadays, I even work with one.
Now, don't patronize me, Turtle. But, no, I'm not mad at you. This is just something that I have always been angry about. But, anyway. We need to make lineally a male mouse because, well, I asked Owl and she said so. She wouldn't say why either. You know her. She just did her teachery thing and, well, that was that. And, so. What, you suggested, well. That's pretty much what Owl said. Lineally is a wise man or sage, and not an old woman, so we aren't going to discuss it anymore. Okay.
Okay.
What?
Um. Well, you talked about making art based on how it makes you feel. But then, just how angry are you? I'm not sure how to make a mouse that can get everyone that angry.
Never mind. Let's just make the mouse look like the picture.
So, Bunny. You actually like the rules, don't you? You talk about inviting chaos and freedom, but you really don't want total freedom, do you?
Well. Okay, Turtle. Yes, I do like the freedom. I'm pretty sure you do too. But, well, freedom has its costs too. I mean, hopping around does use up both time and energy, I mean, when we could be getting on with the job. No. I get that. There are times when you can hop around and play, but there are times when you need to bear down and turtle forward.
Nice metaphor. By turtle forward, you just used me as a reference for work. Well. Okay. But I play too. I'm just slower and, well, less vertical.
Yes, I know, Turtle. I'm just teasing. I hope that I didn't cross any red lines, or borders, or playground rules. Hey Turtle! See what I did there? We were talking about rules, so I played with that idea. Okay. Anyway. I was saying, that freedom costs. Freedom may sound like it's free, but it always costs. And, well, total freedom can cost a lot more. The rules keep us from hopping off of a cliff, or into a fire. So, I might not like the rules, because they aren't as much fun. But, actually building something can be a lot of fun too. And rules and guides help us to actually accomplish stuff.
Bunny. That's very deep. You have been thinking about this. I never think about rules as something to like or not like. I just assume that we need rules. I just think about whether a rule is a good rule or a bad rule, or maybe a rule should be adjusted. So, since you are in a mood for metaphors, it's like, no. Sorry. You can't say like for a metaphor, can you? That's another rule. So, a guide is a rule that we can change. So, for the people who are in charge, the rules are just more things that we can play with. Within limits.
Oh. I never thought of that. I have always thought of the people who make the rules as strict and harsh and intolerant. Now you are saying that I am one. Because, for our project, we make the rules. To make something, the maker needs to be the boss. Oh my! Turtle. You are right. I am a tyrant. Turtle. I think that I am having a breakdown. Everything I thought about myself is wrong. I mean, I'm bunny. I'm all carefree. I'm all about play. Or I was. I mean, I thought I was. And now. Oh, turtle, turtle, turtle. It's like I'm not me anymore. I just realized that I'm an artist. No. I mean, I've known that I'm an artist for a long time, but now I realize. An artist is the boss of a project. I'm the one in charge. I make the rules. All this time, I've been fighting against the system. Now I know. I know that I am the system. I used to think I was the creator of chaos, but now I know. I am just a rule-making machine. Oh. Turtle, how can you live like this?
Well, there's lettuce.
Oh, yes. That's true. Maybe after a nibble things might seem better. Really? I mean, the world wasn't ending 10 minutes ago. Why should I suddenly feel like it has? Turtle? Do you ever feel like everything has just broken?
I fractured my shell once, but we don't talk about that. No. Actually, I think that maybe I do know how you feel. I mean, we learn all the time. It's kind of what we're about, isn't it? But, once in a while we learn something about ourselves. Owl would probably call it character growth or following an arc. And, well, it doesn't mean that you aren't you anymore. Not mostly, right? You are still Bunny, aren't you?
Well. Yes. Turtle. I am still Bunny, and you know what? You were right. I just ate a parsnip and I'm back to my old self. Really? Seriously, Turtle? Just because I can decide what this mouse is going to look like, that isn't going to change who I am. Turtle. I really don't know where you come up with these ideas.
Me neither. Are there any parsnips left? Bunny, I've been thinking. Um. You know how Owl wants lineally to be a wise man? Let's not talk about the gender thing right now. I think that maybe Owl is thinking that he should be the mentor for somebody's hero's journey. That would be a good reason to need a wise old man. Everybody knows the hero's journey, even if they don't know that they know it. It's the most common story template for a coming-of-age story. So, then, when lineally comes into a story, everyone knows exactly who this person is. He's another guy like Gandalf or Dumbledore or Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Okay. So, what you are saying is that we are building an instance of a stereotype. So. And, then you are saying that we want to build an instance of a stereotype because, then everyone will know what to expect because. Well, he will be a stereotype.
Well, maybe it would help if, instead of stereotype, we could call it a story convention. I mean, okay. You're right, it's a stereotype. But, is that always a bad thing? If Owl wants to tell a hero's journey story, then well, she will need to follow some conventions, so that people will know what to expect, enough anyway, so that she can get on with the creative part of the story. And, how about we make Lineally look as much like an old man as we can, because, really, he is a mouse. An old man who is a mouse, that's not a stereotype, is it?
No. You have a point there. So, I guess, then I think that what we need to do is to protect his mousiness as much as we can. More mouse than man, kind of thing. I hope that whoever writes the story will also remember that he is a mouse.
Yes, it's fun to watch how you come up with new ideas, but anyway. Are there ways that we can protect Lineoly's mousiness for our 3D model? What does a mouse have that a human wise man doesn't?
Oh. Beady eyes. Whiskers. I mean mouse whiskers, not old man whiskers. And, of course, a tail. Yes. We want a nice long mousy tail. Gandalf never had a tail. And, no hat. We need to remember that. Our guy has big round ears and no pointy hat.
And fur, too. That's something that we can include. If we can make good fur, that will be an important part of who he is. That's something we need to remember when we are doing the skinning and image textures. You can make a good fur texture, Bunny.
I'm starting to get into this idea. Yes. As Pete says. If you can't do what you're into, then get into what you are doing. So, you were talking about the hero's journey. And Lineoly will be the wise old mentor, but of course, since it's the hero's journey, it will be the hero that will need to learn and change and grow, and well, save the world. Lineoly will just be there to give the hero some advice to ignore until it's almost too late.
I see you do know the hero's journey.
Well, you know Owl. And of course, I've known her longer. It's pretty hard not to know about the hero's journey with a creative writing teacher around. Anyway, I'm just thinking about the hero's journey that our guy is going through right now. It's like, Lineoly was happy to think that he was an image on a collector card. But, now the world needs him to be something more. So, we have pulled him out of his day-to-day life, working on the farm and sleeping under the stairs, or just being on a collector card. So, now Lineoly needs to be a 3D model, so that he can be posed and animated. That would be a pretty big character arc, wouldn't it?
Bunny, you're going to make my head explode. If we start to think about this project as a hero's journey for Lineoly, then we are going to start asking, what is Lineoly's lie to self? And who is the bad guy? And who is Lineoly's mentor? I mean, but really. It's not going to work anyway. The main point of the hero's journey is that the hero needs to take charge. Lineoly would need to come to the realization that Lineoly is the one who is in charge of Lineoly. But, he isn't, is he? Really? It's us that are making all the decisions, isn't it?
That's an interesting question. How can lineally be in charge of lineally? Well, I'm thinking. But how about, isn't it true that at some point in a project, I mean, when things are going well, then the thing builds itself? And well, lineally could come to that, couldn't he? Or, well, maybe, when we say that the eyes need to go forward a little or the ears need to be smaller, well, that's so that they match with what's already there. So, isn't that lineally being in charge of where his eyes should go? Or how big his ears should be? So, isn't lineally already starting to define himself?
Okay. I did warn you, Bunny. Because, well, my head just exploded.
We now have an orthographic drawing with a front and a side view. Next time we will add our design drawing as a background image in Blender. We will build lineally from simple Blender shapes, as much as we can. If you would like to follow along, please like and subscribe. We are Wild Art Fly Free and we are all about creativity. You can see the fantasy world that we are building at our website, or join us on Discord. See the links below.